Okay, so this is Legend of Hero Tama. I decided to make a tutorial, kind of. I put some clips together and some pieces together just to show some stuff. So, of course, this is a game. First thing I'm going to explain, actually, is we'll start in stage 1 here. So on these screens, you want to mash start. You can get it like this, where the ready barely, if at all, appears. So the first thing, these shots. That's your main weapon. There's that level, and there's 2 other levels to it. The next one's kind of like a small coil of a shot. And then the one after that is the wave beam. But no matter what level you're at, all of them do 2 damage, no matter what stage of attack they're at. You also have 3 power-up weapons. One is a orb-like bomb that kind of arcs off your character like this. And the frames on it when it explodes wherever it hits can actually cause damage more than once. But I haven't figured out any effective way to use it that's RTA viable in that way. There's a floor missile, which you won't see in this run also. And then there is the fireball, which is what you will see in this run. All the sub-weapons do 1 damage. All of them. No matter what. And they all have 2 tiers of levels, which just the tiers of levels, all they do is make it so you can shoot extra. That's literally all they do. So, moving on. You can see I'm just playing on a YouTube video I uploaded kind of clips here to explain. So just shoot that guy, keep running. Extra shots at some points in this game will cause lag, so that's why you'll see me not try to shoot too much extra on a lot of spots. So you, of course, easy, jump and go up here. And then you jump at that money bag, and what I'm going to try to do, I don't do it perfectly here, but I'm going to try to tuck as tight as I can around this corner, which is actually just slightly faster than walking forward and falling off this lip. Just slightly. Nothing huge. So I'm going to explain multiple strats also. This power-up, for easier or beginner strats, you can grab that power-up for the level 3 weapon, and I'll show you why later. I don't grab it. The advanced strats, you don't use it. Alright, so back to our video here. You can see I tucked in there real nice. Then you just run forward. The first stage is going to be pretty basic. And I do the same thing here. Jump and tuck. So I shoot this guy, because I was never sure if he actually damaged me if I tried to run through him. So in this game, there's a method, which actually I'll explain in a minute. Up here later. So after going through the door, what I'm going to do is... Whoops, can't... So you'll notice here that, where's my mouse? There it is. So I jumped up here to tuck, and then I jumped down onto this guy's head and forward. So there's a reason for that. That's actually a manipulation. If you don't do that, these guys will both keep running that way. And I'll show you what that causes actually here in a minute. And then you jump and grab that. And then you jump at this guy's spawn here. Up. Don't hold the button too long. You want to try to time those. So you'll see I shoot this guy right here. You can barely see it, but I shoot this guy. So when you shoot an enemy, you can run through their iframes and not take damage. So that's a strat throughout this game a little bit here and there too. So bonking that guy earlier, how do you back up frames like that? So that pig right there. Okay. So bonking on his head earlier caused him to stall here. And then on my way back going this way is when he jumped up there, which puts him right in my path so I can shoot him. If you do not bonk him on the head while you're running back this way, by the time when you fall right here, he'll be right about here. So you'll either have to bonk him and fall down or take your chances. I mean, if you have the wave, technically the wave pattern is like something like this. You could hit him, but I mean, this, why not manipulate it and make it so much easier, right? So that saves like a second, half a second, something like that. It saves a little bit of time. Then you can just fall down there. Oh, sorry. There you go. Got rid of that line. Then you run into the boss room. Easy peasy, right? So the boss gives you some time here. You'll notice me line up. All right. So you'll notice me in the Advanced Strats. I line up with this little nudge here. That little lip right there, I line the front of Tonma's foot up with it. So it's super close. Another visual cue I use is Tonma's head right here over the hip. You can tell by how far over the hip his head is. And the reason I stand there is that's a safe spot. So this skeleton, I'll just tell you, this skeleton, what he's going to do is he's going to face left first, and then he's going to face center screen, and then he's going to face right. When he faces right, his sword is like right here. That's a really good sword, actually. Pretty impressive, right? My Microsoft Paint skills. There you go. So where I'm standing, his sword doesn't have a hitbox, even if I'm in the air. So even if I miss some shots on this strat that I have, I will not die, and I have extra leeway to kill him while he's facing right still. It gives me, I think, about 2 seconds of extra leeway. If you were off the spot to the right too far, I think it's about 2 to 3 pixels to the right, his sword will kill you. So the non-advanced strat, if you did pick up that second power-up with the wave earlier, is for Tonma. Here's our boy Tonma. He's a little blobby guy. All right, so that's him, and here's his handout shooting. So what you do, you just shoot waves continually right here. It just, you nuke him from there. It's about, I believe, about 2 seconds slower from the optimal kill that I can do from stealing task strats. This is a task strat, what I'm doing right here. So I'll show you what that looks like right here. And you can hear what I use as a cue of when, like, I don't know if you notice. Here, I'll just replay it, actually. What I use as a sound cue. So you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hear the 5 shots just nuking into him. And that's the sound cue I use as to when to stop floating. So if you notice, you'll hear me put 5 shots into him. I'll stop holding up so I can get to the ground faster, and then jump again faster to get more bullets into him. And so now I'll let you watch that. So you can see me let go of up there. So I didn't show it right here, but if you press start at near the frame where the screen transitions to the screen, it's just, it doesn't do anything much, but Tommy won't appear. Tonma, whatever. And this text will wait to appear, and it'll appear late after Tonma's already walked off the screen. It's a weird glitch. I don't think it saves any time. I need to time it out, honestly. I don't think it really does anything. But that's stage 1 there. And then stage 2, mashy, mashy, mashy start, you know. So you'll notice I don't get much height there purposely. To the right, I jump, right? With a low jump, because you don't want to spend extra time in the air. And then you'll see me do it. You can tell I am purposely not holding the jump button too long. There's like, this is about as low as you want to get with this one. So you still bounce off the enemies. So I'm trying to do that as fast as possible. And then, oh, let me back up there. So this is important. If you use the advanced strats, you'll notice right here, there is a power up behind this guy. And that's where I get my second power for my gun, my main attack, the little wave beam thing. So that's why I jump so low. It makes it so, and the jump height here is important if you want to grab this. So the reason these enemies aren't hurting me is because at the beginning of each stage, you get iframes for, I think, about 3 to 4 seconds. Not sure an exact number, but you get iframes. So I'm using those iframes to bounce and bounce as fast as I can up here. And at the same time, you'll notice I am I grabbed that item. You can tell by all the shock stuff around him. And then I'm kind of wiggling because you don't want to land over here, because if you land over there too far, your next jump you'll end up too close to these barrels and make it more difficult for yourself. Like you can see right here, again, I'm timing jump height. Look at my jump height. It wasn't perfect. This platform, you can just barely get over it, but I didn't do it there. I mean, it varies throughout my runs, but so you do that, and then you jump again, and you'll see, again, I'm trying to time my jumps there. That's as high as I get. I'm generally either just above or, you know, a little bit extra right there. So this part is tricky. There's a little strat here that you see how close I got to this barrel. I don't think you have to be quite that close, but it is super tight to get. And then I turn in the air. I wiggle around his shot. So this is just more showing how tight this is. And you can get a bounce off this barrel. And if you get that bounce off that barrel, you can actually end up straight at the boss. So let me go back here and show you the easier way to do it. It only saves an optimal 7/10 of a second if you do it optimally with little lag. So if you don't want to do that strat, what I do is when you wiggle around and you go up here, so you wiggle around, go up here. These bullets wouldn't be here right now, and you fall on this guy's head, and then you fall on this. And again, you're pressing and holding A to pressure to make sure you're only getting as much height as you need, as much as possible. And then from there, from bouncing on that guy's head, what screen am I on? Okay. So bouncing off, after you bounce off this guy's head, you want very minimal bounce. You can't see that. You want very minimal bounce from here to here. As soon as you touch the ground, it's going to go into loading the boss. So you want to get on that ground as fast as you possibly can as well. And then this is really easy. You just jump there, jump into this tree, and wait. This will manipulate the boss to do the same pattern every time. Frames, please. So you jump up here. So what I do, right about here, I shoot a shot, because one fireball will hit him when he stops right here. And then I just keep shooting shots as soon as I shoot that shot. And then walk as close to him as you can without taking damage, which I'm a few pixels off of how close you can actually be to him, but that's fine too. And you will kill him every time like that. Every single time. So here's stage 3. First thing I do is shoot as soon as I can. Shoot again. So this guy, and then the guy over here. This one will snipe you half of the time. He can. And this one will snipe you almost every time. So you want to make sure to kill those guys, because they throw coins, is what they do. It's very important to kill them. Because right here, the guy farther left has thrown a coin by the time you're here, and one of the arcs of the coin will hit you right here if you keep running. Don't forget to shoot this guy too. He's sneaky. You don't need the power-ups. So you jump about there, and you just float over this pit under this branch. If you do land on this branch, it's about 0.3 of a second. When you walk off this branch, you have a little bit of a slowdown nudge, but it's not much of a loss. So I float under, kill this guy, jump, get both these items, and then I jump from this bridge. Okay, so this bridge. To reduce lag on this bridge, I do not shoot. I use this barrier that I have right here. And so these little tiles down here, these fall. If these fall, they also cause lag. So I know this rope, right in this area, I think this is the breaking point. It might be right here though. So this set of tiles right here does not fall, for sure. So you will notice I fall onto that set and then jump again and float over the rest of the bridge. Purposely, to not cause lag. So this bat, I wait and jump here purposely, because if you kill him earlier, another bat will spawn from behind, and possibly a pig will spawn from behind and chase you to the boss door. And by the time you get to the boss door, the shield is pretty much gone, and that pig can snipe you or come in the boss room with you and mess up your jump, which I'll show you in a minute here. So I jump there, and then when I land, I jump again. So this manipulates a pig not running from this side again. And because you kill this pig when you're later on the screen rather than right here. And you'll see, you can just walk through this entire section. Okay, so see this guy spawning in the door here? Run into the door, and you'll notice as soon as the door is almost open, you'll see me jump. See, I jump. If you do not jump, that guy will kill you. So I jump, and you'll see me bounce into the room. So here's a new strat I found the other day. When you land in the room, looks like you have a frame or two. It's a pretty decent window. I get it almost every time. It's got to be probably 6 frames or so, but I'm not sure of the frame window. Don't quote me on that. But you can again jump. So when you do that jump, you want to jump as far as you can, but keep in mind the screen scroll, because if you float in the air, the boss won't be active until you touch the ground. So you want to find the balance between how far you jump and the screen scroll spawning the boss. You want to kind of try to time it so you're hitting the ground at the same time, getting as far as you can. I just do a shot for fun there, because why not? And then from here, as soon as you can, as soon as you're active, which it'll take a minute for you to probably time this out, but as soon as you get active frames where you can control your character again, you'll notice me take 1 step forward, jump, and I'm going to float and keep shooting, and putting bullets into this boss and getting as close to him as I can so I can get as many bullets as possible into him. And then I wiggle because I was too close. And then I fall right here, jump before he reopens his mouth, start flying, and start just putting more bullets into him, and you will get a every time 2 cycle on this boss. His hitbox starts right about lined up where the mouth is, I believe. Good for you, see? Good for you. So that's that stage. So there is a route to the right side. Where is my mouse? Okay. To the right over here that other people take. I know how to take it. Personally, I don't find it an effective route. And I'll show you why. So from the beginning of the stage, over to the right, it's way more messy than it is here, and you have to actually take shots. You don't have to take any shots the route I take. So even less lag again, or chances of lag. So you take a left jump as low as you can to this platform. And you'll notice I have those iframes. So you'll notice me do this, and I'll wiggle on top of this guy to make sure I bounce off of him. Holding A. See me? There's my wiggle. And then I'm bouncing off of this statue right here. Left. And you'll notice I didn't use full height there. I let go of the jump button to get minimal height. And then I'd bounce off this one. And apparently the game didn't want to show you that. Where am I now? I ruined it. So here's what it looks like in full. Float off that. And then right here is going to be no float. You don't hold up at all here, but you can do a full bounce onto this guy. And then off of this guy, you do a half bounce. Do not do a full bounce. And still no floating. And because you want to bounce off this guy as low as possible. As low as possible to still bounce off of this guy. And then wiggle this way and time that bounce. And then just let go of the jump button, because you'll bounce. Well, it didn't show that very well. Let me go back and show you it as a whole now. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is just a clean route. You don't have to take any shots. and you land up at the boss. Okay, so this boss. I generally line up. The most effective way I've found to get the 2 cycle here, I do not get it in this video, for the record, and I know why, but I line up, I can't draw a straight line, I line up the back of his head with the edge of the nostril right there, and that's how I know I'm in line or close to my line. So there's going to be a guy spawning here and here. Each of those bosses have 30 hit points. The timing for the 2 cycles quite tight, actually. Because if you remember, each of our main missiles does 2 damage, and each fireball will do 1. So right after he spawns, not while he spawns or on the spawn, but right after he spawns, it'll be like 1, 2, 3. Like if you were to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it'd be on a and or a 2 would be the proper time. If you know anything about music, the and or the 2 would be the proper time that you want to jump, because 1 would be his spawn, so you want to wait like half a second to a second before you jump. So then you jump, put a lot of nuke into him, turn, put some nuke into him. If you turn too early, this guy will throw this rock right here instead of right here, as if you noticed. That where they throw their rocks is dependent on your position on the screen. So then I line up for round 2. Now, here's where I went wrong. For round 2, since I put a lot of damage on this guy, and I know I put more damage on that guy, what I want to do, I more or less want to be over here, not over here, not here. Go, Tonma, move left. Anyways, I want to be more or less like lined up under the left side of this eye, because that will let me jump, take what shots I need to, and those shots will stay on screen, so I can't shoot while those are on screen. But what I can do, as soon as those hit him, I can turn around and nuke this guy, which is how you get the 2 cycle effectively. You'll see me get a 3 cycle here. This strat guarantees a 2 or 3 cycle every single time if you do it properly. I still mess it up once in a while. So there's a odd clip that you saw because how I clipped it. So these stairs, I'd like to take I'm not sure how many frames a jump loses or if it loses frames. So I generally float up to the second step, and from the second step, float up to the end step. You can jump on all of them or whatever. It doesn't matter that much, but you're going to fall here, left, shooting and jump, grab the key, just run right. Nothing will spawn. Again, you'll see me tuck as tight as I can around this corner. Jump up. Ooh, excuse me. Jump up here. And I jump farther left because if you jump on the edge, it'll make for an uncomfortable jump and you'll likely just fall back down here. So then I turn, jump, and shoot, which nukes 2 of these bats, which sets up I think it's part of what sets up something later. Not 100% of that. You'll notice there's no sound on this level either because of how I recorded it. I forgot. So if you shoot from like right here and let a fireball, if you time it right, your fireball will hit this guy and stun him right here. And then you, when you land, can jump up. Well, let me rethink that because I already jumped. You can jump up and on his head, and I'll show you what that causes as soon as I get back here. So there's what I just did there is the slower route. It's not much slower, but go away, Dot. Okay, so if you do get off his head, you can get all the way up to this platform. Saves a minimal of time, but it does. And then I do small jumps, as small as possible jumps up. I shoot right here to nuke this bat. And you'll notice I timed it well. I did my jumps well, so I got ahead of this guy. It can happen if you don't time your jumps well over here, that this guy will spawn at the wrong time. If you see him spawning early, you can tell from this flashing door. Just jump, and he'll bounce on his head, and then keep going down. And then I jump up and start shooting when I get above this block, so I don't break this block because I want to stand on it. Now, some people, which this works perfectly, don't get me wrong, you can jump and get, there's a book in here that nukes all enemies on screen, but shooting here causes lag. So shooting here also causes lag. So I like to, you can walk down this sometimes, but the dependency of this spawn is unreliable when you walk down here. So I always jump over. And then I do a quick jump back over because he'll start walking left, just fall here. I touch this platform. As soon as I touch this platform, you just start floating and shooting shots off. Like so. And it'll nuke that and that. This guy spawned a little bit early, so when I turn right, I'm going to shoot him to pause him, and so I can get around him. So this part I did wrong in this video actually. From where Tommy is right now, Tonma, Tommy, whatever. From where he is right now, if you just float and start shooting shots, it will effectively kill this guy if you do this right. Because you'll float over to about here, and you'll get quite a few shots in him, and then these fireballs, by the time you jump from here to here, he'll be back on screen enough where these fireballs will turn around and seek him and finish him, if you just float from here to there. But you'll see me jump twice and do stupid stuff, and then you do that. So, this is important. You'll notice from the jump from here to here, I purposely did a smaller jump. If you do a big jump and spawn this guy, he'll shoot early and most likely nuke you while you're right here. He'll get you, and it's a one-shot kill. And then you go over. Sometimes that bat will be there. Let me scroll back a little bit here. So sometimes this bat or a second one will be here depending on how they spawned while you're doing that section. And you can just shoot them and fall. So I like to jump from the edge of this tombstone casket. Yeah, casket. That's what I'm looking for. All right. And bonk my head here and then just fall down. So there's multiple ways to do this. The most effective way I found to do this is to jump from this casket up, rub on this wall purposely, and shoot 2 shots on the way up to nuke both these walls. Rub on this wall purposely. It changes your subpixel. So there is, I'm not sure how many subpixels, but if you stand in this spot right here and jump, you'll notice you'll get like bonk, 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 jump. And so this jump, if you can or cannot jump out of this cavity right here, if you can or cannot do a jump out of this cavity, depends on your subpixel. So from what I figured out. And you want to jump actually right about where I paused is where your jump position to get out there. If you jump early, you'll see Tommy just bonk his head from jump and fall. If you jump late, you'll just walk off the edge and fall. And you can tell if you're on the right subpixel, because if you jump in here, he will either look kind of glitched the way he jumps, he won't leave the ground, or he'll leave the ground like this much. And you can tell if he leaves the ground like that much compared to as not moving, it means you have the right subpixel. And then the jump, I messed up that jump, clearly. You understand that. So this boss is a jerk. That's all I gotta say. So, multiple things about this boss. Tommy's, you see this little crack in the floor right there? It's just a half crack. Or is it this one? I think it's this one. Let's find out. Yeah, it's the one closer to me. I had to look at a different screen where that bar wasn't in my way. So this bar, right, that crack right there, Tommy's foot can just barely be all the way over that, and you'll be safe without hitting the boss iframes. And I'll show you what this boss does. This is my old strat, but you can literally stand with Tommy's right foot over this crack, just barely. And that's one of the safe spots. But it's about 50-50 if you're going to get hit or not. But for world record runs, you have to do that pretty much to get the fastest kill. I didn't show you this. Okay, so the safer strat, you start right here, put some shots into him, and you slowly inch forward, inch forward, inch forward, inch forward, and you slowly kill him like that. That's a pretty safe strat. That's probably what I'll do if I race or marathon this. It's a much safer strat. It doesn't lose a ton of time either, and it's faster than strats that other people have been doing. So I forgot to show you one thing. Let's see, where are we? Okay, so forward. So right here, Lat Mackie ran this at GDQX. So this is a good backup strat as well. This is definitely a marathon safe strat also. But down there, yeah, down in that corner, the orb bomb weapon is down there. So if you want a very safe strat, but a 2-cycle boss, you can grab that. And that's a super safe strat. Let's go back to the boss, near the boss. So, and then if you do grab that, the second orb is right here. This is the second orb, so you can throw more orbs. You can throw 2 at a time instead of 1. But yeah. And then I believe he stands right about, I'll have to see the boss. I can tell you the arc. Okay, so with the orb, you stand somewhere in this area because it arcs to right here, where this is the boss is about to move forward to right that position, as you can see. And it'll block, your shot will block rocks, and your orb will hit some rocks too, but it's a very safe strat. Generally, it's a 2-cycle though, not a 1-cycle. So that's all those strats for that boss. We'll just let Tonma kill him off here. Boom. Some more bad editing. Okay, so for this part, I have a setup here. And what I try to do, I try to get Tommy to hit the corner of this window right here. And I float it out from there. You'll see my jump right here, what I'm talking about. Like that. And then from there, I judge, based on when this guy spawns, I judge when I need to jump and float. You'll have to play with it a little bit. Like, you'll notice where I floated from. I noticed him spawning a little bit late. So I waited to jump until after I passed him, and then bonked off his head going up here. So bouncing off this guy will not get you where you need to be. I tried. Oh, whoa, Tommy. Okay. So if this guy is standing to the right, actually, even if this guy is standing anywhere from about here to the right, he will turn and shoot at you. If he's passed this way, just land on this ledge and jump up instead. You got to kind of improv that. It's safe both ways, unless he's to the right of this. He will shoot you. But both sides it doesn't really waste time either way, and both ways are very safe. So then we bounce up here, and we grab this. You notice how we kind of wrap that corner, go back. So you'll notice we kind of safety jump this. Where's my mouse? There's. So you'll notice I kind of go a little bit farther right and come back, so I have room to jump. Because if you just jump on the edge of this again, you'll probably walk off. The jumps in this character is super floaty, super hard to control with jumps and optimize and jumping. So it's better to take a wider jump and have more landing room to jump. And again, you'll notice I barely. You'll notice I barely jump high enough to get over this ledge. And even I landed pretty far to the right. To the left, I mean. So from there, you jump up and float over here. This is a completely safe strat. Works every single time I've tried this because you get up here fast enough before this mage guy spawns. And you'll notice I just float across that, bounce off this guy, straight up to here. Clearly I bounced a little too low there. And then the boss. So you'll notice I have 2 orbs here. I kind of took this part from my PB video. You won't have these orbs unless you grab the B over there. The B right here, that B. If you grab that, you'll have these orbs. But these guys right here will destroy most of them anyways. But there is a difference of if you have them or not. If you grab them, if you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, definitely grab them. So if you have these orbs, you can kill all 4 of these heads in a float. If you don't have these orbs, you can kill this head, and this head. So if you don't have the orbs and you kill those 3 heads, what you want to do, by the time you kill those 3 heads, this guy will have shot a shot this way. And you'll be jumping over it and wrapping around it. You want to land right about here and shoot left about 3 to 4 shots and you'll finish that head off. And then these heads. So for these heads, you want to stand middle-ish, dodge their bullets, and kind of float when you can. Because if you're higher, your wave beam, you want to hit as much with your wave beam rather than your secondary weapon as possible. So remember that pattern. It's like, so you'll have to kind of play with it and line up where. But I think I do a pretty decent job here. I'll have to remember. I don't remember what's on this video, since this is an old PB part of the video. Yeah, see. So I did not do this well in my PB. So like I was saying, these waves, these yellow waves, those are your main weapon. You want more of those. You want to focus on making those hit what you're aiming at rather than the fireballs, because they do more damage and you'll put out more damage at a time. But yeah, I did terrible in my PB, but that's how you do it. And then we go to the final boss. So one strat is to stand here. You can also stand with your foot half over this middle pixel. And then when the orb spawns, jump and just spray. I find because the orb sits in the middle and it starts up, so you get a lot of damage on it when it's up, but it floats up and down like this. So when you fall and you jump back up, you start shooting over it generally. It's very hard to time as effectively as the tasks or anything. So standing here is a safe strat, and you'll see and it's a pretty quick kill either way, honestly. I find that you more accurately do it this way, fast. You get the same speed from it. And then timing is as soon as the princess appears right here. But so that's going to be it for this tutorial. But if you have any questions, anybody that's ever watching this or whatever, feel absolutely free to contact or reach out to me, and I will answer any questions I can. Hope you guys get some runs in and get the times lowered.